If you remember when I did the field test of if you can actually boil water with the fire starter, and it worked, it gave me a great idea for a new type of stove. What I did, I'm going to call it a hybrid stove. Let me get it out of the bucket here. What I did is use the design of my pellet stove and just kind of modified it a little bit with a fuel cartridge. So I used the basic same diameter of the pellet stove. Then I made a little bit of a fuel cartridge here. Basically I just took a soup can, cut it down to about 2 inches, and then I rolled up some cardboard and shoved it in there. And you can see I poured a bunch of wax in there and made just a little baby fuel cell. And I've come to find out after using them quite a bit is they are quite reusable. This is the one I've been using on and off, and I figured that it would kind of burn itself out after a while. And all you have to do to recharge this is basically just pour more candle wax on the inside. And I made the stove so you could actually fit 2 fuel cartridges in there to carry it with you, so you have one to use and one for backup. And of course, we kind of needed a way to put the fire out, so all I did here is took the lid to the can right here, and when I cut it out I actually just saved it. Pretty much drilled a hole in the center there, as you can see, and put a bolt, a washer, and a couple nuts in there, and that way you can use the lid to extinguish the flame. And it all fits in there quite nicely. As you can see, like that, nothing sticks out. And I would put it in a plastic bag before you put it in your pack so you don't get everything full of soot. Because for some reason it does produce a lot of carbon. I'm thinking it's not getting quite enough airflow. So let's take an actual look at the cook stove itself. Basically what I did here is I cut the holes in the top right here to let the flame come out, and I've been leaving the rim on here, and the reason I do that is it adds a lot of extra support for the stove when you put a pot on top of it, and it can actually hold a little bit more weight. And the second thing I did is way down here at the bottom, as you can see, is I cut a bunch of littler holes right even with the fuel cell. The reason I did that is when you put the fuel cell in there and you light the fire, I don't want the flames to come shooting up out the side. I want them to get them directed kind of right out the top. And it's acted kind of like a, what do they call those? I can't think of the name of it. Oh yeah, a volcano stove or whatever. That way the heat is directed more up at the top. And I did leave one hole a little bit higher than the others. That way I could kind of look inside and see and inspect how the fuel cell is doing and how well it's burning. So let's get the stove set up. First thing, I'm pretty sure you can tell by now, it is very windy out. We're getting some hellacious wind gusts. So what I did basically is, this is basically kind of a self-made invention I did, is a portable, like a windscreen or windshield for it. We're going to be using this today. And the second thing is safety. I got my bucket, there's a lake. If the fire does get out of control or I feel uncomfortable with the burn, I got a way to put the fire out immediately. So let's go ahead and get this set up. I'll level this out as much as possible. There we go. Go ahead and drop the stove in. And I'm going to use the newer of the 2 fuel cells. Let's go put that in there. We'll go ahead and move some rocks around. Just a little extra support due to the wind we got. Now to light it up, this is a lot easier than you think. I can either light the wick or come down here and light one of the pieces of cardboard. Let's go ahead and do that. Now I got the wick lit. Go over here and get a piece of cardboard. Now it's going to take a couple minutes, but eventually it'll light all these pieces up here on fire. It said usually it takes about 2 to 3 minutes depending on the temperature and the wind. So we're going pretty good right now. Center that up as much as possible. And I think what we're going to cook today is we're going to make some oatmeal. So I'm already going to go ahead and put the pot on here. 1 second. Nice little wind gust. The reason I'm putting the pot on now, not waiting for it to come all the way up to full flame, is kind of help it get going because of the wind. Ah, crap. Had a tick in there. Alright, let's go ahead and put some water in the pot. And this is going to be a great test of the stove due to these wind conditions to see if it'll actually heat this pot of water up. Now we just sit back and wait. Now if you notice, we're getting a lot of black smoke out of there. Normally I would tell you that is the toxins in the can. This time it is not, because I've fully burnt this can or the stove out. I probably used it a handful of times. I'm thinking about 12. And what that is I've come to find out that is carbon, which means it's not burning very efficient, but it's still working. And it's not hindering anything whatsoever. So we're about 4 minutes in and fighting a windstorm, and let's take a look inside and see what's going on. And with only being 4 minutes in, look at them bubbles we got going. Freaking amazing, isn't it? So I'm thinking let's go ahead and add our oatmeal in there and get that started. And get this stove put out as soon as possible because of the wind situation. Don't want to have any misfortunes. We're going to be going with maple and brown sugar. And remember, when it is this windy out, keep an eye on your trash so it doesn't scatter all over the forest. Oh yeah. We're going to let that simmer a little bit, stir it. We're going to give that about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Ah, yes, it's thickening up quite nicely. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull that off the fire. We're just going to stick this over here and just kind of let it simmer and cool down a little bit so we can actually, oh wow, so we can actually eat it. Make sure there's no ticks in there. Okay, now we're going to put this out really easy. And you're going to want to wear gloves when you do this. Simply, we're just going to take this little plunger or the top of this and set it down on top of the fuel cell. By doing this, what you're doing basically is just smothering the oxygen out. That way, it puts the flame out. And it usually takes a couple minutes, don't get impatient. I usually let it sit on there until I don't see any smoldering or any smoke at all. And now it's out. Now, give you a couple of things, a little heads up. First of all, you don't want to throw water in there. If you throw water in it, it will put the fire out, but then it knocks all the wax out of the fuel cell and spreads it all over the place, as I found out. But no big deal, you can always just simply reload the fuel cell. Two is, you're going to want to let it cool down. Remember, there's hot wax in there, and it usually takes anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, even 30 minutes, depending on the weather conditions, to cool down. So this has been, that oatmeal needs to be stirred. Hang on one second. Give this a quick check. Oh yeah. Damn leaf got in there. This has kind of been my hybrid stove project. I hope you enjoyed it and give you something to think about, something to try on your own. It's really small and it's compact, and all in all did a great job in this windstorm we're having today. I'm very happy and pleased with the build. And as always, thanks for watching. Yep, that's right. Time for the bonus footage. Got my area all nicely cleaned up. Stove and trash packed away. 71 degrees out, can you believe that? And we're having quite a nice little windstorm today. We're getting gusts from, I think it was 10 to 20 miles an hour is what the National Weather Service said. So what I did is kind of built a little windshield here. That way I can get most of my filming done so you don't hear the wind in the microphone. Got my pack set up. Oh, I did something really new with my pack you might want to check out. Been hanging it off the tree. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, it's gone. And I've been clipping the hooks right down here on the frame of the pack, and they keep getting stuck, so I just kind of put a little piece of rope on there, kind of help things out a little bit. So this has been your bonus footage. And I think I'm going to pack it out before a rain front moves in. You can kind of see the wind on the water there. Pretty neat, huh? Ah, here it comes. Hang on, wind gust. See? Let's start over.